Thank you so much, and you are so right in discussing this dementia. You will not be aware of actually how many people that have nursed their loved ones with dementia will appreciate your discussing it. For me, it is very painful, but I know it is so helpful.
I'm glad, Alan. Would you mind tell us a little bit about your experiences with dementia?
My wife, it's coming back a time now. My wife was diagnosed with bless his name.
Alzheimer's disease?
Alzheimer's, sorry. I'm 91 now, so make allowances.
Don't be silly, Alan. Carry on, don't be silly.
Diagnosed with Alzheimer's on the 6th of September in 2011. And it was really a battle. She obviously had dementia a long while, but prior to that, it was in the early stages of diagnosis, and it was only diagnosed then for the persistence of my granddaughter, who was a nurse, and she absolutely persisted, and it was diagnosed. As you say, it's an awful illness. I nursed her at home as I tried to your producer until she turned 19 today. And when it was 19 today, I just could. It kept me awake for a week. I couldn't go on any longer, so I had to make arrangements to get her into a care home as near to me as reasonable as I could get. And she was in there for a year. Just over a year. Visited her every day, and it's a terrible illness. Possibly, it's for the carer and the loved ones, because you watch your loved one slowly decline. And after she lost the battle on the 30th of November 2015, and I did need counselling, and I still do for that matter. And I was told that for the loved ones, although your loved one is still alive, you are in actual fact grieving every day you see them and leave them.
You're grieving the person they were.
Awful, terrible illness for possibly for the carer and the family, because the person, your loved one with dementia, it gradually loses their faculties, and they don't realise it. They don't realise the condition they're in. And as somebody mentioned in your text, the singing is the very last thing to go. Prior to getting really bad, my wife, the charities had arranged singing for the brain. And whilst they've got a certain amount of faculties, singing seems to stay with the person, and the little musical drums and that sort of thing is the very last to go, and it does make them happy.
Alan, what was your wife's name?
Pamela.
And when you were caring for Pamela, we've talked a little bit about what helps people who have dementia, but were there the things that you found helped you? Because as you say, it's a huge burden, it's a huge emotional burden on the people who are caring for, well, in your case, for caring for Pamela. Were there things that you found helpful that other people might?
What did I find helpful?
Did you have support around you? Were there places you could go to talk about how you were struggling with it?
Well, no, because I was, in the early days, I was able to do. I didn't get any help at all because, it was the early stages. The Alzheimer Society were just getting organised with the social services, and at that time, it was more or less like a few weeks information of what was available to you and what could be done. Because as you rightly say in listening to the programme, I'm sure that they've advanced much more now than they did in the early stages. That was.
And
No, I found it so difficult. The help. No, I didn't get any help.
Alan,
it satisfied me to be with her.
And the counsellor, just very briefly, Alan, I'd love to talk to you all evening, but we are quite pressed for time. But let me just ask you, the counselling you've had since, has that proved helpful for you? And would you advise other people, if they are in a similar position, to do the same?
Yes, I did find it helpful in as much as you get suggestions what to do, which you probably wouldn't think of. The only trouble is you've gone into like a sort of a shell, like a snail, and you have a job to get out, to make yourself to do what is suggested. But yes, if you can bring yourself to do what often a counsellor will tell you to do, to meet somebody or get involved in something. COVID has been a disaster because it has restricted everybody so much. It's made everything so bad.
But talking about it helps. Alan, thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing your experience of caring for Pamela. You visited her every day. What a man. Thank you for sharing it. I know it's not easy, but there will be people listening in a similar position.